Unforgiveness only hurts the one that carries it. See, when you are carrying unforgiveness, it's you carrying a dead man tied to your back, and what's going to make that dead man deteriorate is going to deteriorate you. That's what's going to cause cancer, heart disease, sugar diabetes, and all manners of diseases and all manners of affliction will come up in your life because of the lack of reconciliation. And now it said, did you confess? Did you know confession has principles? See, and they do, and here are three of them. Number one, the Christian who first become aware of a wrong has a responsibility to initiate and carry out God's given procedure of in talking and taking care of it till it has reached a satisfactory completion. And see, one thing that what we will do is we will not come and do it right. We throw a left-handed apology. I'm sorry in case I hurt you. But you knew before you said it, they were going to hurt them. But yet instead, you won't just come and say, I apologize. I was very wrong. I did not operate in a godlike manner. So forgive me, and let us come in agreement that we're going to put this thing aside and let God come before us, and that he may wipe it away from both our minds, and that we may walk in love with each other. For, you know, the Bible says, how can you love God whom you have never seen and not love your neighbor whom you see every day? And see, we quick to go to God and ask forgiveness, but we will not go to our neighbor and say, I'm sorry. So confession begins with setting the wrong right. And don't just set it right, but make sure that it's satisfaction on both sides. You're satisfied, and the person that is offended is satisfied, and everybody can walk in love. The second thing, the time element involved. See, one thing that what we want to do is we want to wait. And people have died waiting on somebody to come to them and just say, I'm sorry. Some people's hearts are so hard that it's like stones. They refuse to allow themselves to go to somebody and say, I'm sorry. They rather see them die and then let them go in the grave, and you carrying this guilt. Because see, if you don't get it straightened out up here, you're going to get it straightened out in heaven as you'll get it straightened out in hell one. One of the places that you're going to get that thing straight, it's going to get straight because it's coming up again. And God's not going to let it rest. And see, it said one ought to proceed as quickly as possible within the framework of God-given procedure. And see, what is God-given procedure? Let's go to Matthew 5:25. It said, agree with your adversary quickly, even if you know that you're right. And why would you sit up there and argue with somebody about something that you know that you're right? Only thing, it said this is what God says. It said, while you're on the way with him, lest your adversary be delivered to the judge. See, if you do not allow that person to be forgiven, as you don't forgive, then what you are doing is you're inviting in another entity to come in to judge the situation. Don't let that person go to God and say, God, I want you to judge this situation. And if one thing that I found out when I was working, I had supervisors that came against me, and I said, God, if I'm wrong, you judge me. But if they are wrong, you judge them. I said, I want you to judge this situation because you're going to judge it rightly. And it said, and the judge hand you over to the officer. It said, the judge is not going to hand the person that got offended over, but he's going to hand the one that created the offense over to the judge. So what's going to happen is the judge is going to put you in a situation where either through trials and tribulation, it's going to cause you to go to your adversary and confess your fault and go to God and confess your sin and then get this thing quickly satisfied and let it go, and that if you don't, you're going to have to suffer the consequences. It said over to the officer, and you be thrown into prison. And the prison don't mean always physical bars. Some people are prisoners of their own mind. Some people are prisoners of their own body. And just because of unforgiveness. Unforgiveness and not confess sin will put you in prison.